Today, we're going to be talking about the Paige Bueckers draft theory. We're going to be talking about something that is very interesting. The more I've kind of read into it, the more I'm like, this is very, very interesting. And look, this is not something that is any real basis. This is a complete theory. There is no basis on this at all. I do really want to make that clear. But it's something that the more you think about it, the more it's a possibility. Look, I give this a 10% chance of happening. There is a 90% chance Paige Bueckers goes to the Dallas Wings, but there even be a 10% chance of this happening is crazy. Before we get on to it, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 40,000 subscribers as soon as possible. We're trying to do it by Christmas, and we need to hit 39.2k by the end of the day. That'd be insane. We're like 50 off. But the theory is that Paige Bueckers is going to, not on official instruction of the WNBA, the Players Association, but to help out the Players Association, Paige Bueckers is going to refuse to play for the Dallas Wings. She's going to refuse to play for the Wings. And the reason is because of the WNBA Players Association's want to abolish the draft. It's going to be a big talking point in negotiations. We've heard Nneka Nwumeke, the president, talk about how the WNBA, just like the NWSL, which is the soccer league, has abolished their draft, and that they want the WNBA to abolish the draft entirely, so that when players come out of college, they can play for whoever they want. Obviously, they want this so the rich stay richer. They want this so that players team up with each other, so that, I don't know, there's a UConn player somewhere, Paige isn't, the players don't have to go where they don't want to, basically. They can go wherever the hell they want. And it's going to mean that the same 5 teams win every single year, and the same 4 or 5 teams are terrible. Because, to be fair, it is kind of understandable, because you could go to Seattle, where you have state-of-the-art facilities. You can go to Indiana, where you have decent facilities. State-of-the-art in Seattle. You got state-of-the-art in Vegas. You got state-of-the-art in New York. You got state-of-the-art in, trying to think where else. Eventually, the Sparks will. You're going to have state-of-the-art in Golden State. Whatever expansion franchise will be state-of-the-art. Or you can go to the Connecticut Sun, where you might have to cut practice short because a 2-year-old has a birthday party. So it's a little bit more understandable in the WNBA than anything else. But if the number 1 prospect refuses to be drafted somewhere and threatens to go back to school, because she has that option, most of the time you can't really refuse to play and sit out. Not that you can't really. Most people would not refuse to play and sit out. But Paige Bueckers has all the incentives to stay another year in college. 1, the new CBA has not been decided yet, so her rookie scale deal is going to be significantly lower than if she comes out in 2026. 2, the Dallas Wings are the number 1 pick. A franchise that, yes, they made the semifinals in 2023, but a franchise that has not been historically great, and it's a team that doesn't really... It's a team who is kind of ran by a player who doesn't really suit with what Paige Bueckers wants to do. Paige Bueckers is a better shooting guard than she is point guard, and if she goes to the Dallas Wings, she will have to turn into a pass-first point guard because she has got the number 1 shot chucker in the entire WNBA in Arike Agumboale beside her. It's Dallas. I don't think she wants to be in Dallas. And obviously the Sparks have the number 2 pick. And she's turning down $75K contract. She's turning down a little bit for Unrivaled, but Unrivaled will probably pay her the 100 grand as a freaking ambassador NIL deal that she's coming in 2026. I don't think that's going to be an issue. All the WNBA Players Association people are involved in Unrivaled. So if she can be used as a pawn to get rid of the draft, they won't care about that. And she'll make as much money in NIL in college next year as she would if she went to the WNBA. So there is legs to that theory. Especially because Nneka Nwumeke, the WNBA Players Association president, has publicly stated they are trying to get rid of the draft. And that is something that's going to be pushed in... it's going to be something that's going to be pushed in the next CBA involvements. It's going to be something that's pushed in the next CBA discussions. And if Paige does refuse, it's something that they could work with. If the WNBA loses out on Paige Bueckers for another year, because of the draft and the draft lottery and players not being able to choose where they go to. It gives leverage to the WNBA Players Association to completely abolish the draft. It does, whether you like it or not. They can literally go in with the argument of, we were supposed to have had Paige Bueckers. We missed out on Paige Bueckers because Dallas got the number 1 pick in the draft, because of a draft. If she was allowed to go where she wanted, I think she wanted to be a Valkyrie. Let's be real. She probably wanted to be a Valkyrie. But you tried to appease the teams with this draft system, and, Paige Bueckers is now in UConn instead. Ironically enough, if she really wanted to go to Sparks, she could have came out last year. Sparks at the 2 pick, and she was not dropping below 2. But it's something that I'm seeing like more and more whispers about, and it's a possibility. Very small possibility, though. Like, I really do want to make that clear. It's a very small possibility. But I think there would be a 0% chance of Paige Bueckers refusing to play, or a near 0% chance. But the media won't shut up about it. The media genuinely won't shut up about Paige going back for another year. And as well as that, you've got now people bringing up the fact that the Players Association has said they want to get rid of the draft. What better leverage do they have in getting rid of the draft in having one of the most hyped players? Let's be real. Since 2019, who have been the most hyped players coming into the W? Caitlin 1, Paige 2, Breanna 3. The second most hyped player. And I'm not even going to say the hype was there for A'ja Wilson. Since Stewie. Since Breanna Steward. And before Breanna Steward, it was freaking Griner. Since Breanna Steward, she's the second most hyped player to come into the WNBA. And if she waits another year, purely because she doesn't want to be drafted by a specific place, then the WNBA Players Association have all the leverage in the world to get rid of the draft. I still don't think it's going to happen, by the way. Still don't think there's anything you can do to get rid of the draft, because it's going to take enough teams to vote on it. And, like, do you really think Dallas Wings are going to vote to get rid of the draft when no one wants to go to Dallas? Do you really think the Indiana Fever are going to get rid of the draft because no one's going to really want to go to Indiana when you can choose to go to LA? Like, there are so many teams that are 100% going to keep the draft. Obviously, the Valkyries, the Sparks, the Valkyries, the Sparks, the Liberty, I don't even know who else. All the Storm, the Mercury probably. They've got state of the art. They would be all for no draft. They would absolutely be all for no draft. But I still don't think there's enough teams that it would ever pass, no matter what happens, no matter what Paige does or does not do. Either way, though, it is a theory. It's an extremely unlikely theory, but I'm seeing more people talk about it, so I'm at least going to discuss it. And again, I don't think it happens. I really don't.